back to Hoeology Podcast. We're here with more host shit. And I'm so excited because I have a very special guest on today's episode. Her name is Key. And she's a super freak. She's super freak. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Key, would you say you identify as a unicorn?
I would say so. Okay. I feel like if I'm down to clown, then
I know that's right.
I have to identify as it.
So for my vanilla listeners, a unicorn is a bisexual woman who plays typically with couples. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know a lot of us are curious because I've never even had a threesome. I am the most basic person I would think. I've had a lot of sexual experiences, but I haven't had a threesome, which seems to be like the check mark of all sexual experiences. Like if you have had a threesome, like bitch, are you even fucking? You're probably still a virgin. No shade to virgins. We love virgins over here.
I wouldn't say that. There's other avenues, but
okay, no worries. So what would you say overall your experience has been as a unicorn?
Honestly, my experience is lit because I don't really do anything that doesn't make me happy, that doesn't bring me pleasure. Mm-hmm. And the only reason, I don't even say became a unicorn because the whole purpose of me getting started, I was just like, oh, okay, I get pleasure from one people, but two? Okay, bitch, I'm down for it. I'm lit.
I really do. Like on the sex bucket list episode, I talked about wanting to have like an MMF threesome because I just think like enjoying two bodies would just be like the ultimate level of like pleasure for myself. It's purely selfish in that moment.
It is.
Like
honestly,
how many holes can you fill? But
all of them.
But I think that it's really cool that you have had to, or not had to, but that you've gotten to experience that.
Honestly, it's a dope time. It's a fun time. If you go out, so I'm one who likes to go out by myself, head to any bar, especially like where there's couples or BDSM, dungeons, or honestly, Tinder. There's so many. I'm on Tinder now, and there's many people looking for thirds. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. I'm actually banned from Tinder, fun fact. But
I was banned too, but I said Google Voice, hello.
I did not try Google Voice. I tried like one of the Text Now apps.
Oh,
they were like, this is not a real
No,
number.
it won't work with the Text Now. You got to use the Google Voice number.
But I think that's really cool. I think there are a lot of like different avenues to meet like thirds on, as they call them. And I will go over those in a little bit, but I want to know, as a unicorn, like what are some of the different types of couples that you've interacted with as far as like open couples, swingers, poly, like all of that?
Okay, so most of the couples I've interacted with were either open or poly. I've met a few swingers, but typically, in my experience, swingers aren't down unless you're in a couple, and I'm perpetually single.
Oh my gosh.
So it's really a lot of open couples or poly couples, or sometimes, and like I can get into this later, but or it's sometimes where like a girl is curious or her man wants to have a threesome. You can always tell, by the way, like who planned the threesome out. You can always tell. But most of them have definitely just been like people who are open sexually or couples who wanted to just add a third into their dynamic.
Yeah. So like me and this, like another fellow, like sugar baby at the time, we actually went out to St. Pete's just to get drinks at a bar. And like Treasure Island specifically is where we were. And Treasure Island is like known for swingers. Like there are a lot of just swingers there. So these guys come up to us and like we're used to like dating older guys. So we didn't even question like when they came up to us. We're like, hey, can we buy you a drink? Absolutely, sure. So we get to talking and chatting, and like neither of them had on rings. Like that's the first thing I look for when I'm like meeting a guy out. I'm like, does he have a fucking ring? If not, cool, green light. If like there's a ring, I'm like, do I care tonight? You know?
Do I care?
Do I care enough tonight? So we basically get to talking or whatever, and they're complimenting us, like, whatever. It's like, oh, there's a boat show. Eventually, 2 women walk up, and they're like, oh, my God, you're so pretty. I'm like, thank you. Like, they're Caucasian women. We're both black women. Their husbands are both white. And they're like, oh, you're so pretty. Like, we love your hair. I'm like, thank you. And I see rings on their fingers. And I'm like, the math is not mathing. Like, it's not adding up. Like, they're just too comfortable.
They hit you with the setup. They did.
It was a setup.
They hit you with the
setup. And I, like, gave my friend this look. I'm just like, are they swingers? And so at that point, I was like, this is the first time I've been, like, approached by, like, a couple that, you know, was interested in, like, bringing me into their bedroom. And it wouldn't be the last time, but I think just, like, being approached that first time, like, what was that like for you?
My first time was actually unconventional. It wasn't just like the first time I had wasn't like at a bar. I was actually meeting this guy off Tinder, and like you said, super freak. I'm into some freaky shit, so I like to run a questionnaire about a hose before I even get
how
there.
Safe it is.
Yeah, to measure. I'm like, is this even worth me going out?
Yeah.
And they had met the requirements. I was like, okay, cool. You know, I'll go over there. So I was over like at his house, and I had made a comment, like, cause he had something that was like sort of feminine in his room, and I was like, oh, that's funny. Like, imagine like you have a girl or something else here, and he was like, oh, actually, I'm in an open relationship. And I said, oh, okay, cool. Like, is it open to the fact where like you have to tell her what's going on, or you just do what you do and then report back, or you just do what you do and there's like no other thought about it? He's like, oh no, I tell her. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So does she know I'm here now? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, my curious ass, I'm like, well, oh, can I see her? Yeah. And I looked, I was like,
what you gay ass?
She bad as hell, bro. Honestly, like, I prefer women than men too. So I was like, hold on, she bad. Wait a minute. I was like, And I told him, I was like, yo, I would definitely be down to like fuck your girl. So,
oh my God.
And then he was just like, well, I can make it happen. And I said, well, make it happen. Then what's up?
He living the dream.
So then he had texted her a picture of me, and she's like, okay, yeah. So then she came back home, and that's how it happened. So
oh my gosh. So that was your first experience.
That was my first experience.
That's
it's just me on my fuck shit. Like, that's how most of it happened.
I'd be like, yeah, you in your fuck shit. But I'd be like, yeah, you being like outgoing enough to be like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, she's looking good. I'm feeling it. Like, let's go.
This.
Yes. Let's do this shit.
So that was a fun time too.
That's legit. That's legit. So after that experience, like, how did you get into like wanting to specifically do like the unicorn activities?
Honestly, it was just through Tinder, and I just put a unicorn in my bio. But again, I have a thing where it's just like, even if I don't know the person, I have to try you out before I can bring like a third person. Like, because after that, I will say it was a great experience, but it was just like some things was just like, okay, cool. Like, granted, like he was on his shit that he was talking about, but then I also had another interaction after that where they're like, oh yeah, no, I would love to have a threesome, and then I fuck him, and then it's just like, sorry, you couldn't even please me. How you gonna please like two of us?
Now you see why you had to bring someone else in,
right?
Because
hello. So honestly, I just put like a little unicorn emoji like in my bio, and that's what got like a lot of them. So at that point, it would be people who are in open relationships who know that they could come to me and it not be a problem, because I'm fine regardless with either you or both of your partners. Damn, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, essentially what I'm saying is I got into it more like where I'm just like, oh, okay, you know, like I can do that simply on Tinder with a unicorn emoji, because my whole thing is it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I want to be a part of like a poly relationship, or mine is purely sexual because I'm a gremlin out here fiending.
Absolutely. So it's actually like interesting that you mentioned like being approached on, you know, social media, because Tinder is not social media, it's a social dating app. But I think that a lot of girls get into relationships and, you know, they have this idea that they are considered quote unquote freaky you know, and then their boyfriend's like, well, I want to have a threesome. So how do you find someone that has a threesome? You go on dating apps. And so I think a lot of women go through like dating apps to find these like threesomes or whatever. Mm-hmm. So have you ever had any experience where it was like someone was trying this out for their first time?
Yeah.
And you could absolutely tell?
Yeah. Honestly, like with most threesomes, I can tell you right now, if you're approached and a man was doing it, that was his idea. That was his idea, 100%. There's never been a time where I was actually like, you know, having sex with both of them where I'm just like, if a man has approached me first, I was like, yeah, this was his idea, because the women tend to be more possessive, like of the men, and even of themselves, and it's not so much like they're like, oh, okay, you know, you can go down on me, or you can do this, or you can only touch my man to like a certain extent before they come in. Or sometimes, like, I've only met one who was like super vocal about it. I was like, girl, okay, at this point, like, I'm just gonna leave because you don't want this. I'm like, you don't want this, and this is not a fun time for me, and that's all I'm here for. Like, it's a fun time. But you can definitely tell when a man sets up a threesome versus when a woman sets up a threesome. Generally, because she'll be the one to like talk to you and respond, but that I find that when a woman sets up a threesome, it's generally because she has a genuine interest in women, and she was just like, okay, I just want to bring my man into this. Mm-hmm. Those are the best times that I have, and those are the ones that I like having, and that I don't mind having the most, because I'm like, one, first of all, I'm more attracted to women, but two, it's just like, it's enthusiastic all the way around. So like the women is enthusiastic about, you know, pleasing and being pleased, and the man is, he's first of all, he's just happy to be there. Right. Honestly, he's just like, wow, I get to experience this. And then he's also enthusiastic about pleasing and being pleased, and then it just creates a better environment to where everyone feels comfortable and safe to actually make sure everyone is having a good time too. I don't remember the question, but you can definitely tell. You can definitely tell like who set it up and like who wanted to actually have this threesome and who's just going along with it just for shits and giggles. Yeah.
How like open would you say, like I always say, like on the Swedish Sugar episode I mentioned like wanting to like confide in other sugar babies because only they can understand what you're going through like on a day-to-day basis. Like I can tell my vanilla friends like, damn, like I gotta go see my SD this month, like whatever, but it's not the same as me telling my sugar sister like, hey, I gotta go see this nigga, like I'm not feeling up to it, like, you know, I just got my period, whatever. So like how open would you say you've been with like your friends in your life, and how like receptive have they been to like understanding your lifestyle?
I'm super open. Honestly, I'm super open in general. Like that has never like really been a big concern of mine, because my friends, like bless them, they're so non-judgmental. They're really just like, if you like it, I love it type of people. Right, that's a blessing. So they're like, oh, okay, they know I'm on my fuck shit, and anytime I go somewhere, they're just like, you know, send me your location or keep your location on in case anything happens. God, so they have it so I can be safe. But yeah, no, like I'm really open with that. Anyone who knows me or has come across me knows I'm super open. Sometimes, like I have encountered like a few people, not necessarily my friends, because I know that's what we're talking about, but I have encountered like some people that where I'm talking with and they get like the heebie-jeebies. They're like, oh my God, this sexual deviant is trying to fuck me and my man. God. And I'm like, first of all, bitch, I would have said that. I would have told you. Right. So like, why are you upset? Why are you confused?
I'm dead.
Like we would have had that conversation.
Right.
Immediately. So at that, come about me, okay? I care about my nut, okay? So I'm actually really grateful. Like I said, I have friends who support me no matter what. I can talk to them and it not be like they understand. Yeah, I'm on some bullshit sometimes. So even when I'm talking to them and they're like, "We could never," but girl, to you, it sounds like a good time.
I love that. I really do. Like, it's so important, like, in anything that involves sexual exploration, to have, like, a healthy, you know, essentially, like, a community around you to be like, this is what I went through today. Like, I don't need the judgment. I just need to be able to vent and let that shit out, you know? It's really just important to me. But, so how long have you been technically, like, a unicorn?
Honestly, since it was whole life or no life.
Whole life or no life.
which has been forever. Which has been forever.
On our foreheads. Like,
so it was whole life or no life, like my sophomore year into college, and that's essentially when I also became a unicorn because I prioritized my pleasure over anything else, and if you with it, I'm with it, goddamn. So.
I know that's right. We were like on Twitter. There's this big debate right now about DJ Envy and his wife, and she's like, he didn't give me orgasms at first, and like and people are like, you didn't give her work, and I'm just like, that only like 10% of women experience orgasms like through penetration. Like the rest is probably I gave it to myself.
Yeah, that's crazy too, because it's just like I've had those experiences, and it's literally gotten to the point where like some people are just like, oh, like now in the words of my good sis, my good friend, I actually don't know this bitch Megan. It never happened if the dick wasn't snapping. Okay.
Period.
Okay.
Our periods wash away all the bodies we had before.
I'm like, that never happened. That didn't exist. But I also find like with women, like not even with women, just like some of the women that I talk to, because there's still such a stigma around sex. It's hard to ask for what you want.
God,
and it's hard to direct men to tell you like, to direct them, be like, oh, well, do this. And for me personally, like, I do a little questionnaire, but when you meet up, sometimes there's nerves or whatever, so you do have to direct them sometimes, and I look to see like who can take direction. So like if you can take direction, or you're there to listen to my body, okay, cool, we're gonna have an amazing time. But there are some people who can't, and I'm gonna be honest with you, there's some times where I'm like, yeah, you can get out, like you can go, I'm good, you can go. Or it's like, I'll stick it out. And it's just like, like why?
And then you like ask yourself, you literally have a conversation with like, bitch, why did you go through with that?
Why? Like why didn't you just fucking kick him out? Like, why did you just do it?
We gotta do better as
honestly
women.
Have to do better. But
we gotta end trash sex culture. But so like before you got into this, like as a unicorn, like had you heard of unicorns, or like had you like what was your thoughts on what unicorns were?
Yeah. So before like I got into it, again, the way my friends are, if you like it, I love it. I had the same perception. I'm like, if you like it, I love it. If that's what works for you, cool. I've always had the idea. I was just like, oh, I could do that. What? Two people to pleasure me. It didn't matter who it was with, because again, I'm actually pansexual, so it's women. Like women, like if there's three women, with it. women and a man, with it. 2 men and me, with it. With it all. So I was always just like,
I'm just kidding.
I'm with all this shit. So it was never just like I wish I could do that. It was more so, for me, it was just more so going to be, how horny are you today? And when is this going to happen?
Did you know a lot about like open relationships, polyamorous relationships, like at all?
I didn't know much about open or poly relationships, just that, if it's open relationships, typically to me that just meant like it was open like sexually, and then polyamorous, they were looking for actual connections. And I've been a part of, or I've attempted to be a part of both of those relationships.
Oh, nice.
And it really just depends on, the person and how well we click, and where, not only that, but how well we click mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually. And a lot of times I found that either one person was able to guarantee that, but the other person wasn't. And I'm like, I personally don't feel comfortable getting into that aspect outside of it sexually.
Absolutely.
With you, knowing that I can't provide, or that I'm not being provided for by one of the partners, especially if that's what y'all are looking for. I feel like it does take a certain mindset to get in there and be like, okay, cool, to meet the standards of like both people, but also have both of them meet your standards and stuff too. And I feel like that's what sometimes people may get like mixed up or just forget about too, especially when they get into the relationship aspect of it, outside of it sexually, even sexually. Like you have one partner who needs to be catered to more, one partner who likes this, or one partner who likes that. And I feel like sometimes when people get into it, they don't have enough discussion. They're just like, oh yeah, no, I'm down. And now it's super awkward and no one knows what they're doing, and everyone's just like fumbling around, and it's weird, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, even in like just like 2-person sexual situationships, like you know, you are afraid sometimes. Like, I know early on, like, in having sex, shit, until I was, like, 21, I didn't even have my first orgasm. So I was, like, really afraid of speaking out. Like, I don't actually like this, you know? Like, I do like this, or this is related to sexual trauma. So you are afraid to, like, speak out and be like, you know what? Like, hey, I want you to go slow. But maybe the person that we've brought in is like, no, beat it up. Like, I want you to go fast, you know what I mean? So that's actually a really important aspect I think people need to understand, especially with, like, everybody and their mama looking at polyamorous relationships as, like, a thing. And it's like, you don't actually want poly, like, you want open. Like, because poly is usually catered to, like, one person being, like, the center person. And then, you know, everybody around them is, like, for them versus for each other. Well, I guess they technically interact, but it's so many different, like, variations of relationships. But I am happy that we're becoming a little bit more aware at a time of the different types of relationships there are, especially our age group. We're, like, late 20s or mid to late 20s, and we're just experiencing so much, like, damn, you know, maybe it's okay to not be, like, you know, so, like, cookie cutter, perfect, and happy in our relationship, and, like, we need an extra person, or we need a new sexual experience to, like, liven it up. So it's really, I think it's a good turning point.
I do too. And it's so funny because, like, me personally, sexually, I'm with, like, open and poly relationships all day, but I've yet to be in a true poly relationship that's like from my own doing, where, you know, I have a partner and I'm willing to, you know, bring in a third. I have yet to experience that. So that's the one thing I can't speak on. And I'm very curious as to how I would interact in that situation, because I don't want to say that, you know, I'm selfish or I'm still in the idea of monogamy, because that doesn't make sense to me. But it's, like, that part doesn't make sense to me, but it's because it's really outside of, like, the sexual aspect. It's really the only thing I've ever known. I'm curious to see how that kind of integrates into any future poly relationship and stuff that I may have. So that's one thing I haven't truly experienced, because I'll be a part of, like, a third or a couple, and I'll, like, date both of them, and I'm completely fine with that, because in my mind I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm the addition, I'm not, like, you know, the main entree. But me being the main entree, that's different. So it's just like, I wonder how I would be in this situation.
Listen, I would be like, I feel like in theory I would be like, oh, this is great, 2 people, like, worshiping me. But in reality, I'd be like, I'm annoyed with both of you. Please leave me alone.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I need space with one person, and now I have to entertain 2?
Right.
What is this? I don't like it.
Is there any, like, advice that you would give to someone that's maybe curious about, like, the unicorn lifestyle?
Yes, definitely. One, know what you're willing to do and know what your limits are, and be able to communicate that effectively.
Oof.
Because I'm like, for me, honestly, I'm into a lot of shit, so anything goes. But I have encountered people where, like I said, you can always tell who decided to have a threesome and who didn't. So I've also encountered some women where they weren't really comfortable with what we were doing, or they weren't comfortable with certain stuff. And if you aren't comfortable, that's okay to say. Like, it's great that you want to experiment and do other stuff like that, but it's very important that you put yourself and your pleasure and your mental health above, you know, anything else that your partner wants at that time, especially because you are putting yourself in a vulnerable position.
One of the most,
one of the most vulnerable positions, honestly, not only in your relationship, but sexually. Like, you're inviting a total stranger into your space. So I would definitely recommend that, you know what you like, especially, like, in the bedroom, so you could communicate that with both parties. Because if one person doesn't want to do it, maybe someone else does want to. What you're comfortable with doing for you yourself, because, you know, you may not be comfortable doing everything, and they may not be comfortable, and just figuring out who's a good fit. I wouldn't focus on solely I wouldn't focus on solely just having, like, the experience just to say you did it. It needs to be an enjoyable experience for every person in the room. So that's what I would say. I'm like, hey, make sure you know what you want, make sure you know what you're willing to do, and then make sure you're able to cultivate that experience for yourself and for other people as well. Because it really does help when you have other people there who want to make sure you have a good time and who want to make sure that you're receiving pleasure in the way that you should. Not only from themselves or from their partner, and then just make sure everyone just leaves happy and satisfied. So that's the best advice I can give people who are curious about the unicorn lifestyle.
I'm always like interested, like every person, as a person that has never had a threesome, I'm always still like just confused, but also curious about how they start off and how they end. Like, does it start by just like, you know, someone just like touching someone, and then does it end with like a soft kiss in the morning? Like, what? No. Like, probably not. I watch too many movies, and too much porn. But overall, out of all the experiences that you've had so far, tell us your favorite experience as a unicorn, and don't leave out any details.
So my favorite experience actually was with one of my old doms, because like I said, I'm into some freaky deaky shit. So I'm into BDSM. I'm switch, primarily a sub, but I had a dom.
So see you being a dom. I can see someone like walking on all fours, like, yes, mistress. I can see that.
That's funny though, because it's weird. When it comes to women, I am more of a switch. When it comes to men, I don't know what it is, but I have to prove that I can dominate the hell out of you. It's so weird.
Oh,
like, it's
gosh.
Immediate. Like a man could come up to me and do something, and now all of a sudden I'm like, I have to do it better. Like, it makes no sense. But one of my favorite times was actually me and my dom just going out to like a dance club. And then when we got here, he was just like, he told me, he's like, I want you to find someone and bring them home, and I'm gonna do the same thing. And I said, okay, bet it up. So then we did that, and we just found, like, obviously, you know, we're not super lit, but, you know, we're drinking, we're having a good time.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding this guy, and he found another girl who was down, and it turned from a threesome to a foursome.
Oh my God.
And we all brought them back to my apartment, had fun. And then at the time, my apartment complex had a pool and a hot tub, but it was like locked, so we all like hopped the gate, and then you know, was getting freaky deaky in the hot tub and in the pool. And it was funny because then another couple had came in, hopped it, and got in there with us. And that's when ironically, that's when the two that we had came with, they're like, oh, okay, you know, because at this point it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
The two that we came with, they're like, okay, you know, we're gonna head out, because me personally, I believe in staying the night. Girl, get out.
Yeah.
Homie, get out. Whoever, get out. You know, you don't gotta be here. That's all right. Even the dom wasn't staying the night. Like, you get your ass out my house. But it was when they have to get the others had left. But at that point, you know, we were just chilling, relaxing and stuff, and they had hopped, and you know, we could kind of tell they were vibing with us, and I'm like, is this part 2? Hold on, is this part 2? So then, damn, this is some real hoe shit. I'm be fucking like 4 people in one night,
okay.
and two extra.
Honestly, we've all had multiple people in 24 hours. It's okay.
And like 2 extra, but then we ended up going back to their place and having like a good time too. But honestly, like both of those experiences, they were really fun because all of us wanted to make sure that, you know, we had a good time. So we went back, when we went back to their place, you know, there was drinking, there was dancing. You know, you always start, and then it's so weird because when you're in like that environment, you always start with like one person or just flirting heavy with one person and make out, and the person always just comes up behind you and just starts rubbing on you, and now you're like, oh my goodness, yes! You get excited.
I love it because it's just like, then you know that this is like a safe environment to just let it out. Like, I'm gonna let the inner hoe out.
I'm gonna let it out.
Like, you wanted it, you're about to get all of it. Like, I'll be here for that. I really am. I wish that, I mean, besides that one night in St. Pete, I've never been approached since then, unfortunately. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But every person I've asked about their threesome has said, like, it started off as just like, you know, cute, touchy, flirty, and then it just transformed into this thing. And so
yes,
I love that your experience has aligned with that, and that you've been able to be like, this is what happened for me. So, you know, I don't know, I just love it.
Honestly, I love it too. And it's never, for me, it was never necessarily like, oh, you know, I think I want to be a unicorn. I think like these are the only relationships it has. It's really just, I'm extra horny today, and whatever happens.
No, it feel like that. It really does. It really does. I think, like, I always joke with my boyfriend. I'm like, you know, after like 5 years, I'm done sucking dick. We will bring a girl in to suck dick, because I'm gonna be tired. I'm already tired now, and I don't even suck dick. So. But it's funny because she knows my boyfriend. But you know, I'm okay with that. Like, I think being a part of like such a sexual community has really just opened my eyes to so many things that I would not have had access to or even known exist. You know what I mean? Like, so last question. On the last episode I did, it was about kind of like a sexual tourism episode. So like sex clubs and like sex parties and nudist beaches, etc. Have you ever had to go to any sex clubs before, and have you had any luck at the sex clubs being a unicorn?
I have. So I've been to a few sex parties. I was a member down at the Woodshed pre-pandemic, like a couple years back. Like, I haven't been there since I moved away, and that was like 3 or 4 years ago. But those sex parties be lit, honestly.
I'm jealous. I haven't been.
Honestly. Because, like, you go in, and it's really just, like, a free-for-all. And you're like, oh, okay. All right, bet. However, I will say they're lit, but they're not my type. They're not really my cup of tea. Because I have a specific type and stuff that I like. And that is the, like, the weird thing. Like, well, not even the weird thing, but just, like, the thing about me is, like, I'm picky who I choose to unicorn with. Because I have to be attracted to both of you. Okay, it can't just be one or the other. And I, like, there's where I get approached a lot, either on social media or sometimes, like, when I'm out by myself. Because, like I said, you know, I'll go and I'll be at bars. Never clubs, but I'll be at bars and stuff, like, by myself. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, we're all drinking. All of a sudden, I see this couple here, and they're just chatting me up. And I'm like, you want to fuck me? I know it. Yeah. You want to fuck me? Go away. But if I'm not, like, the way I base my sexual interactions off of, like, if I'm not attracted to you, like, I can't force myself to do anything, because I'm a half-ass. I'm a half-ass it, and I feel like you don't deserve for me to half-ass, like, your experience, and I don't deserve to have a half-assed experience. So I would say, like, I've had luck in the sense, like, you know, I'm getting fucked, and, you know, it's cool. But as far as, like everyone that's, you know, I'm 100% attracted to, it's just like, nah, like, how you balls deep in me and I'm drying up because I hate looking at your face. Like, that can't be a thing. That can't be a thing for me.
And vaginas are in control.
Like, honestly. Like, if I don't like what you're doing, I can feel it instantly. I'm like, ooh, wait, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
And
she'll be like, no, bitch, he's done.
And I would say I'm kind of an asshole sometimes, because I'd be like, can you bring such and such back? Can you come here? Can you come back? You leave. You come back.
Not return to sender.
You go back to where you came from. I don't know where you came from, but you don't need to be here anymore.
I love that, honestly.
So I would say, like, I've had luck, and then I really haven't had luck. Actually, no, I'm going to say I just haven't had luck. Honestly, unless I'm 100% attracted to, like, everybody there, which is never going to be a case for me. Yeah. Then no. So I don't go to them that often, but when I did, you know, if the goal was to get fucked, I got fucked, but
as women, don't we all? No, but I think we're planning to go to the hedonism resort in Jamaica, so you have to come with us. And maybe then you can...
A hedonism resort, eh? That sounds
girl.
Sounds hedonistic.
I'm done with her. Anyway, I just want to say this has been so informative, so just amazing. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And where can they find you if they want to, you know, recruit you? For their like threesome or whatever.
You can find me on Instagram at Malibu Pineapple Girl, my go-to drink at bars.
You know what? The girl now, she's gonna be elevated to tequila. I cannot. Malibu Pineapple Girl, that's Kool-Aid.
I know. But I love it because it's an on the rocks pina colada. But it's funny because now I actually do like tequila sunrise or just tequila and pineapple juice.
That's my
But the reason I had it like that because I was joking with my friend because I went to a bar and for like a year straight, like after work, because I was a server at the time. Fucking hated my job, so I went to the bars frequently. It literally got to the point where the guy like saw me. He couldn't remember my name, so he's like, Malibu Pineapple Girl. I was like, stop! I'm sick. I order more things than Malibu Pineapple, but it'd be the first thing that I ordered to like start me off.
Yeah, I don't know why rum never gets me drunk. Like never, but Malibu is the shit. So
it is the shit. I love it. And it was funny because I didn't think anything of it until I saw the ticket and my name was Malibu Pineapple Girl. So that's
literally
that's what I made it my that's what I made it my Instagram handle. I said, damn, not me not having a name, but a drink title. But a drink title.
I really love it. But thank you so much for coming on Hoeology Podcast, and we will talk to you guys soon with more host shit. Bye.
Bye.